Good call, exhilarating. How about the starting lineups?
All right, Jack. Exhilarating is a very choice word today. I hope the Bears are as exhilarated as we are up here in the press box and in our own WGN booth here waiting for the start of this championship ball game. A most colorful crowd clad in every conceivable bit of warm weather clothing you can imagine, from colorful face masks to all kind of footgear, including all kind of coats and anything imaginable to keep warm in this weather, and practically a complete sellout. As far as we can see, it is a sellout. Let's go through the lineups here. The Bears won a toss and consequently will receive, and so we'll give you their offensive lineup. It'll be Farrington at left end, Lee at left tackle, Karras at left guard, Pyle at center, Cadile at right guard, Witaska at right tackle, Ditka at right end, Wade at quarterback, Gallimore at left half, Johnny Morris at right half or the flanker, and Joe Marconi at fullback. For the Giants on defense, it'll be Cat Cabbage at left end, Mazalewski at left tackle, Lovateri at right tackle, Robustelli at right end, Hillebrand at left linebacker, Huff, the great Sam Huff at the middle linebacker, Scott the right linebacker, Erich Barnes at left halfback, Lynch at right halfback, Pessanen at left safety, and Patton at right safety. The officials for today's game: the referee is Norman Schachter, the umpire is Ralph Moorcroft, the back judge is Ralph Vandenberg, the field judge is Fred Swearingen, and the head linesman is Dan Tehan. And Dan has been officiating in this league for so many years that he was the head linesman 30 years ago when the first championship game was held between these same two teams. In fact, I'd say that George Hallis and Dan Tehan are the only two members of that crew who are still in action today, 30 years later. There are the lineups, Jack.
All right, Cup. Dan Tehan, incidentally, is also the sheriff of Hamilton County, Ohio. The big roar in the background now is for the Chicago Bears individual introductions here. They are racing out of the clubhouse down here in the left field corner. It was at Wrigley Field, the site of this championship game today, that the Giants clinched their 1962 Eastern Division title. Tittle threw 2 touchdown passes that day as the Giants beat the Bears 26-24. It was the only defeat suffered by the Bears in their last 6 games of 1962, and the first of only 2 losses that they have incurred in their last 20 regular season games. The New York Giants come into this game with a record of 11 wins and 3 defeats, no tie games. The Bears won 11 during the season. They lost 1. That came way back on October the 20th in an upset at San Francisco, and they tied 2. The Giant defeats were against Pittsburgh, 31-0, but we must point out that Y.A. Tittle did not play in that ball game. He sat it out. They also lost to Cleveland by a score of 35-24. And their third defeat was against the St. Louis Cardinals, 24-17. The Giants' tremendous offense has averaged 32 points a game, but the Bears' great defense has held the opposition to 10 points a game. So we're set for a great battle here at Wrigley Field today, folks, between the Western Division champion Chicago Bears, who have won 5 titles and lost 4 titles in the championship game, and against the Giants, they've won 3 and lost 2. The Giants, in title competition, have played 13 championship games. They've won only 3 and they've lost 10, and I might also point out that the Giants have never won a National Football League championship on the road. They have played 6 games on the road in title competition, and they've lost every single one of them. Now the co-captains down here are going out into the center of the field. Mike Pyle and Mike Ditka, offensive captains of the Bears, and Larry Morris and Joe Fortunato, the defensive captains. Jack Stroud, the offensive captain of the New York Giants, and Andy Robustelli, the defensive captain, meeting in the center of the field simply for, a formality. The toss of the coin, as Cup told you, has already been made. The Bears won the toss, and the Bears are going to receive, and they will be defending the south goal down here to our right. The wind that's blowing is out of the west at about 11 miles an hour. The flags on top of the scoreboard in Wrigley Field are bristling in the breeze, and we're all set just moments away here from this championship game. The Giants have won the Eastern title 6 times in the last 8 years, beginning in 1956, and 10 members of that Giant team in 1956, which beat the Bears 47-7, are still on the team. George Hallis, owner-coach of the Bears, has had his last-minute words with his receiving team, and now the 11 receivers race out onto the field and get together down here in about the 35-yard line. Don Chandler, who's the place kick specialist for the New York Giants, has teed the ball up on the 40-yard line. The Bears, dressed in their regular home uniforms, white football pants, navy blue jerseys, white numerals, orange arm stripes, black helmets. The New York Giants, dressed in their traveling whites. They have silver gray football pants, white jerseys, red numerals, black helmets with the red stripe. Ready to kick off is Don Chandler, the veteran from the University of Florida. Billy Martin is deep, along with Ronnie Bull, on the 3-yard line for the Chicago Bears. Referee toots his whistle, and Chandler approaches the ball. He boots one deep, straight down the middle, taken by Billy Martin on the 2-yard line. He slips on the goal line. He gets up to his feet, races to his left, and he's dropped on the 10-yard line. And coming down is Dick Lynch to make the tackle for the New York Giants on the Chicago Bear 10-yard line. Martin had a little trouble there on that south end of the field, which is definitely frozen and slippery. He grabbed the ball on the 2. His feet went out from under him, underneath the crossbar. He hit the deck on the goal line, got up and raced out 10 yards, and it's the Bears' ball, 1st and 10, on the Chicago Bear 10-yard line. Billy Wade is wearing gym shoes. It looks like the rest of them have the regular football shoes on. Slotted, or flanked right, is Johnny Morris, about 10 yards off the right end. At quarterback, Billy Wade barking signals. Hands off this time to the left halfback, Willie Gallimore. Drills a hole in the right side of the line and moves up a couple of yards to about the 12-yard line. Catkavage and Lovatier combine their talents to drop him on the 13-yard line. Call it the 12.5. A gain of 2 yards on the play. It'll be 2nd and 8. The Bears have Farrington and Ditka at the ends. They have Herman Lee and Wataska at tackles. Davis and Cadile at guards with Mike Pyle at center. Pyle, first man out of the huddle, up and over the ball. Again, Johnny Morris is split wide. Farrington, the left end, is split wide. The setbacks are Gallimore and Joe Marconi. Calling signals is Wade. Here's the draw play to Marconi. Up the middle, he drives to about the 14-yard line before he's brought down by Catkavage. Jim Catkavage from Dayton, an 8-year veteran, 240-pounder who stands 6'3", made the tackle just shy of the 15-yard line. It's going to be 3rd down and about 5 yards to go for the Chicago Bears. The ball midway between the 2 sideline stripes. The Bears huddling back in the shadows on the 5-yard line. They pop out of the huddle. Here's Pyle up and over the ball. Again, Morris is flanked wide right. John Farrington split wide 8 yards off the left tackle, Herman Lee. Wade barking signals. He's going to keep the ball. Goes to 15-20. He is hit at the 22-yard line by Dick Cressenden, who came on from the defensive left halfback spot to make the tackle. Billy Wade dropped back, cocked his arm, and saw an opening, and he kept the ball, and he took it up to the Chicago Bear 23-yard line, where it becomes 1st down for the Bears. An 8-yard gain for Billy Wade on his first running play. Wade not known as much of a runner. He averaged just under 3 yards every time he carried the ball this year. Flanker back Johnny Morris is out wide to the right by about 8 yards outside the right end Ditka. Barking signals is Billy Wade. The Giants now in a 6-man forward wall. Here's Wade giving to Gallimore. Tries to skirt around right end and is going to be nailed by Erich Barnes, who came up and nailed him on about the 23-yard line. Gallimore tried to skirt around the left side of the Giant line, and Barnes came crashing in and nailed him on a beautiful knee-high tackle on the 23-yard line. It's a gain of nothing. It's 2nd and 10 for the Bears. Ball 20 yards in from the western sidelines. Allie Sherman, the very successful young coach of the Giants, over on the far side of the field, pacing up and down. This is his team, and it's his 3rd year. He's finishing out his 3rd year as coach. And for 2 years, he was named the Coach of the Year in the National Football League. He's 40 years old. Split wide to the left now is Farrington. Here's an offside as Mo Zaleski bumps into Mike Pyle, and a flag goes into the air. Dick Mo Zaleski, big left tackle from Maryland, 260-pounder, and an 11-year veteran in the league, crashed offside before the ball was snapped from Pyle to the quarterback, Billy Wade. 5-yard penalty against the New York Giants. Makes it now 2nd down and about 5.5 or 6. Call it 5. 2nd down and 5 for the Chicago Bears on the Bear 29-yard line. Here the Bears, a lot of the old gingers, they pop out of the huddle up to the line of scrimmage. Farrington split wide left. Johnny Morris, flanker back, wide to the right. Wade looking over the 6-man New York Giant line. Billy Wade barking signals. A long count play here. He gets the snap. He hands off to Gallimore, and he is hit immediately by Andy Robustelli, who diagnosed the play perfectly and drove in to drop Gallimore back on the 28-yard line. Robustelli, 37-year-old veteran and the father of 8 youngsters, is playing his last game as a New York Giant. He announced several weeks ago that this would be his final game, although he probably will remain on the coaching staff of the Giants. He right now serves in a dual role as player-coach, as does defensive back Jimmy Patton. Again, Farrington split wide left and Morris wide to the right. Wade drops back to throw, decides to run, goes to the 35, goes to the 40. Here's a fumble, and the Giants have recovered at the Bear 41-yard line. E. Rich Barnes fell on the ball at the 41-yard line, and the Giants have recovered a Billy Wade fumble. 11 minutes and 13 seconds remain in the first period. No score. The Bears and the Giants in the 31st annual National Football League Championship game. Now the Giants have it on offense, and Greg Larson is up and over the ball at center. Y.A. Tittle at quarterback. They've got Morrison at right halfback. Here is Morrison taking the handoff. He tries to swing in, and Doug Atkins nails him on the 41-yard line. Joe Morrison, 5-year veteran from the University of Cincinnati, took the handoff from Y.A. Tittle, and he cut in over right tackle, but Doug Atkins was waiting for him along with Big Stan Jones. And they nail him on the 40-yard line. It's a gain of a yard on the play. 2nd and 9 for the Giants. The ball 20 yards in from the western sidelines. Here is Del Schaffner, flanked wide to the left. Frank Gifford, a split right end. Tittle barking signals. 37-year-old bald eagle back to throw. Lot of time. He throws to Morrison at the 45, down to the 40, down to the 35, and hit and knocked out of bounds by Ed Obradovich and by Benny McRae and by Bill George. Close to the 30-yard line, they pick the ball up and throw it in, and they place it down inside the 30 on the Chicago Bear 29-yard line. So Tittle has hit on his first pass attempt of the day. Tittle set a record this year. He threw 36 touchdown passes for the New York Giants in the 13 games that he played in. 1st and 10 for the Giants on the Bear 29-yard line. Y.A. Tittle barking signals. Hands off to Phil King. He drives into the center of the wall, and he gets about a yard or two. He was stopped once, but he spun off one man and continued to bang his way into the Bears and got down to the 28-yard line. Stan Jones and Fred Williams made the tackle on the Chicago Bear 26-yard line is where the ball is going to be placed down. 2nd down and about 7 for the New York Giants. They have Schaffner, Gifford, Roosevelt Brown, and Jack Stroud, Darrell Dess, Bookie Bolin, and Greg Larson in the forward wall. Y.A. Tittle, Phil King, Joe Morrison in the backfield. Split wide is Schaffner, flanker back. Tittle barking signals on 2nd and 7. Hands off to Morrison, quick opener, and he's into the line, down to the 20-yard line. Joe Fortunato made the tackle. Now tempers are flaring down here. Bill George and Joe Morrison going at it for just a moment, but it's broken up very quickly. Nice gain on that play as Morrison, who averaged 4 8/10 yards per carry this year with the Giants, found a big hole in the wall and moved it down to the Chicago Bear 20-yard line where it's 3rd and 1 for the New York Giants. No score, 9 minutes and 9 seconds left in the first period at Wrigley Field. This time Gifford split wide to the right. Aaron Thomas is a tight right end. Here's Gifford in motion to the left. Tittle barking signals. Hands off to Morrison. And like a hurdler, he jumps over the line and gets down to about the 17-yard line. Larry Morris, right side linebacker, comes on to make the stop for the Chicago Bears. Looked like a hurdler that time. Morrison, a tremendous runner, 6'1", 212 pounds, and a 5-year veteran, jumped over the pile of humanity that time to take that ball down to the 16-yard line of the Bears.
4-yard gain.
A 4-yard gain that time. Here is Schaffner split wide. Thomas now on the left side with Gifford, the flanked right end. Y.A. Tittle barking signals. 1st and 10 for the New York Giants on the 16-yard line of the Chicago Bears. Yat gets the snap. Hands off to Morrison, and they gang tackle him with Bill George and Stan Jones leading the attack, and Doug Atkins is on the bottom of the stack along with Larry Morris and Fred Williams. Ball is going to be placed down on the 14-yard line. Pickup of 2 yards on the play. And Morrison, so far here, fans, in the early part of the ball game, has been the workhorse of the New York Giant backfield. Giants huddling back on the 23-yard line. Tittle brings his 10 teammates up to the line of scrimmage. Greg Larson, the center, up and over the ball. He was on the Minnesota Rose Bowl team a couple of years ago. Gifford split wide to the right. Tittle back to throw. He tosses in the end zone. Touchdown to Gifford. 14-yard touchdown pass from Tittle to Gifford. And Gifford got behind his man Benny McRae, and he caught it in the corner of the end zone, and the Giants have drawn first blood on a TD pass from Y.A. Tittle to Frank Gifford. 14-yard touchdown pass, and Don Chandler comes in to boot the point after. A 41-yard march following a Bear fumble, and the Giants have scored. Glenn Griffin, their number 2 quarterback, will be holding. Don Chandler, who led the league in scoring, will be booting. Here's the snap. Here's the kick. It's in the air. It is perfect. And the score, with 7 minutes and 38 seconds left in the first period, is the New York Giants 7 and the Bears nothing.
You don't have to look far to see the difference in beers. Just check the label. In a bright red triangle on the Old Style label, you'll see 2 words, Pure Genuine. These 2 words are our certification that Old Style is cool brewed purely by nature. Each drop of Old Style is brewed twice. First at a frosty 36 degrees until it gets its light, bright, pleasure-giving life. Then it gets a second purifying brewing to give it an honest smoothness that is nature's very own. That's right, when other folks rush their brew to market, we're just beginning a complete second brewing. It takes months longer to produce cool brewed Old Style, but it's lighter, smoother, mellow, and foamy. And the wait is well worth it. Try Pure Genuine Old Style, cool brewed purely by nature for your refreshment, only in La Crosse by the G. Heilemann Brewing Company.
Well, Don Chandler's almost automatic. He scored 106 points this year on field goals and extra points during the season. He kicked 52 points after, and he booted 18 field goals in 29 attempts. So here's a fella, Cup, who led the league in scoring, and he didn't score a touchdown. Yep. 106 points.
That touchdown play, by the way, Jack, was one that the Bears had been practicing against all week, and George Allen, the defensive coach, was kind of shaking his head because he knew exactly what was coming and probably had warned McRae to watch for this a dozen times. Gifford started in and faked McRae and then started to his right, cut sharply to his right, and caught the ball going away in the end zone, and Benny McRae had been outfoxed, but the game is early. Let's go, Jack.
All right, here's Chandler booting with Billy Martin and Ronnie Bull deep, and it's going to be taken there by Ronnie Bull at the 3-yard line. He's up to the 5, he's up to the 10, he's at the 15. He is hit by Dick Lynch at the 17-yard line. Lynch of the Giants also made the tackle on the first kickoff when the ball game started. And now Lynch, the former Notre Dame star, gets downfield, and he makes the tackle for the New York Ball Club, and the Bears have it 1st and 10 on the Chicago Bear 18-yard line. Giants 7, Bears nothing. These 2 teams met in an exhibition game, a preseason game in Ithaca, New York, last summer, and the Bears won that game by a score of 17-7. That's the only time they have met during 1963. They did not bump heads during regular season play. Johnny Morris is flanked wide to the right. Quarterback Billy Wade looking over the 5-man wall for the New York Giants. He gets the snap. He hands off to Gallimore, head down. He doesn't get much at all. He hit a stone wall. He had his head down and his knees driving high. But he was stopped by Big Jim Catcabbage and middle linebacker Sam Huff. Violent Sam from the University of West Virginia, who was captain of the West Virginia team in his collegiate days. Ball is on the 19-yard line. Give him a yard on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 9 for the Chicago Bears, who trail 7-0. 6:51 left in the first period. Left end, John Farrington is split wide to the left. Johnny Morris, flanker back wide to the right. Wade back to throw, cocks the arm at the 12, fires, intended for Farrington, and incomplete. Sam Huff and Dick Lynch were back defensively for the New York Giants. One of them might have got a fingertip on the ball, but it sailed out of bounds right down here below us, and it stops the clock with 6:39 left in the first period. It'll be a 3rd down play for the Chicago Bears, who trail 7-0. 7 of the Giants and 8 Bears have been named for the East-West Pro Bowl game at Los Angeles in January. Y.A. Tittle, Del Schaffner, Darrell Dest, Jim Catcabbage, John Levatier, Dick Lynch, and E. Rich Barnes all have been named to the East squad. And, of course, player coach Andy Robustelli will be on the East coaching staff of Valley Sherman. He's also named Ed Coleman and Ken Cavanaugh of the Giants to be on his coaching staff. 3rd down play. Wade throws. It's caught over here by Joe Marconi at the 20, 25. He's at the 30-yard line before he's nailed. A little flat pass to Joe Marconi, the fullback from West Virginia. And Jimmy Patton came on to make the tackle for the Giants. Fine play as Billy Wade tossed a flat pass to Marconi. And Big Joe, who's been, I think, in my own opinion, one of the most underrated football players in the league all year, took that ball to the 30-yard line. An 11-yard gain for the Chicago Bears, where it's 1st and 10 on their own 30-yard line. They trail the Giants 7-0. Here are the Bears, a lot of the old peppers. They pop out of the huddle and get up to that line of scrimmage with Morris flanked wide right and left end. John Farrington split wide to the left. Here's the handoff to Gallimore. Tries to skirt around left end. He gets across the 30, but he's nailed at the 31 or 32-yard line. And coming on is the right side linebacker Tom Scott to make the tackle for the Giants. He's a Virginia boy, an 11-year veteran in the National Football League. Second down and about 8 yards to go for the Bears on their own 33-yard line. The Giants scored a moment ago on a TD pass from Y.A. Tittle to Frank Gifford. A 14-yard touchdown pass. They used 7 plays and a 41-yard advance after recovering a Billy Wade fumble early in the first period. On 2nd and 8, let's see what Wade pulls out of his bag of tricks. A long count play, possibly calling an audible or a switch of plays right at the line of scrimmage. Here are flags in the air as a couple of the Giants, Sam Huff and Mo Zaleski, move across the line of scrimmage too quickly possibly, and we're going to get a walk-off against somebody. It's going to be against the New York Giants, I believe. It is. 5-yard penalty against the Giants, which will make it 2nd and 3 for the Bears on their own 37.5-yard line. The Giants 7, the Bears nothing. 5 minutes, 11 seconds remaining in the first period at Wrigley Field. I'm Jack Quinlan along with Irv Kupcinet. It's the championship game in the NFL, and the first time these two teams have met for the title since 1956 when the Giants beat the Bears 47-7 at New York. 2nd and 3 on the Bear 37.5-yard line. Wade calling the shots from the quarterback slot. Hands off to Gallimore. Sidesteps Cabbage and cannot get away from the left side linebacker Jerry Hillebrand, who dove in and made a beautiful knee-high tackle and dragged him down on the 36-yard line. One more step and Gallimore might have had himself a pretty good gain, but he got away from Jim Cabbage, who raced in, but he could not get away from Jerry Hillebrand, and he lost a couple of yards on the play. Back to the Chicago Bear 36-yard line. Going to be 3rd down and about 4 yards to go on the Chicago Bear 36-yard line. Here the Bears out of the huddle up to the line of scrimmage. Farrington split wide to the left. Marconi the setback behind Billy Wade, and off to the right of him is Willie Gallimore. Here's the snap from center. Wade is back to throw. He fires, and it is trapped and then knocked out of bounds by Johnny Morris. The pass was low and it hit the ground. And Johnny Morris may have been hurt. Mike Ditka is having a word with one of the officials over on the far side of the field right in front of the New York Giant bench. But it's a 4th and 4 situation for the Bears now, and Bobby Joe Green, their punter, comes into the lineup now as the Bears are going to be forced, Cup, to give up this ball.
Yes, the word that Ditka was having was a complaint to the official that he was being held on the line of scrimmage and consequently couldn't get out. It's always a moot and delicate question whether the defense is legal or illegal in the use of the hands before the ball is thrown.
The Bears have called a timeout with 4:23 left in the period. The Giants lead 7-0.
A roaring fire in the living room fireplace or a cheery red stove in a hunting shack makes pleasant company when the cold wind blows out of the north. But here's a friendly companion that will refresh you no matter where you are. Pure, sparkling Old Style. You see, Old Style is a pure, genuine brew. Old Style is cool brewed purely by nature, and this, my friends, takes time. And that's why you'll find G. Heileman Brewing Company in La Crosse holds the brewing temperature down to a frosty 36 degrees, while Mother Nature takes her time to make Old Style light and mellow. There are no shortcuts to mellowness. Old Style promises you natural refreshment in a pure, genuine brew because it's cool brewed purely by nature. For your personal pleasure and the well-being of your guest, make your refreshment Old Style, brewed twice, cool brewed at a frosty 36 degrees, purely by nature.
Well, the old king, Hugh McElhaney, along with Eddie Dove, have gone back into twin safety for the New York Giants on the Giant 25-yard line. Bobby Joe Green is in to kick for the Chicago Bears. Green this year, one of the top punters in the National Football League, averaged 46.5 yards a punt. Let's see what he can do now. He'll be punting into sort of a crosswind. He's standing on the Bear 21. He'll kick from about the 24. McElhaney on the far side and Eddie Dove on the near side for the Giants in double safety. Here's the snap. It's belt high. Here's a nice long spiral wobbling downfield, and Dove takes it on the 24-yard line. He gets up to the 25, 26. He is hit at the 26-yard line. Beautiful tackle downfield by the center, Mike Pyle. J.C. Caroline was also downfield, and Eddie Dove, who took the punt on the 24, returned to 2 yards, 40-yard punt by Bobby Joe Green. and a 2-yard return by Eddie Dove. Giants ball, 1st and 10 on the New York 26-yard line. It's the Giants 7, the Bears nothing. We're in the first period. 4 minutes left in the opening quarter. Y.A. Tittle, 37-year-old quarterback, hands off to Phil King, left halfback from Vanderbilt, and he drills a hole in the center of the line and pumps his way up to the New York Giant 30-yard line. Middle linebacker Bill George and left tackle Stan Jones combined to drop the ball carrier on the 30-yard line. Phil King, I notice, is also wearing sneakers, as is Frank Gifford. It looks like the rest of the Giants attack, wearing the regulation football shoes with the regular cleats. 2nd and 6 for the Giants on their own 30-yard line. They've got Gifford split wide. Schaffner flanked wide to the left. Schaffner, one of the favorite targets of Y.A. Tittle. Now the bald eagle calls signals. Hands off to Morrison. The big fullback's into the center of the line, and wrestling him to the ground is Joe Fortunato, the left side linebacker of the Bears. His forward progress carried him all the way to the 34-yard line. Man, that Morrison is running today. Tremendous fullback. Giants have it now. 3rd down and about 2 yards to go on their own 34-yard line. Bears have Obradovich, Stan Jones, Fred Williams, and Atkins up on the forward wall, and now Fortunato moves up, and so does Larry Morris. The 2 linebackers on the corner move up to the line of scrimmage. Tittle back to throw. He's hit. Oh, is he hit by Larry Morris? And Larry Morris helps him to his feet back on the 26-yard line. Larry Morris, a former All-American at Georgia Tech, came in and really hit Y.A. Tittle, and the Giants are going to be forced to punt. He was hit back on the 26-yard line.
Nice the way that Larry Morris hit him, knocked him down, then patted on the head and hooked him up.
Beautiful. So Y.A. has been on the seat of his pants for the first time today. Don Chandler is in to punt. Back for the Bears now, Johnny Morris and Billy Martin. Here's Chandler's boot, a tremendous high long spiral. Johnny Morris, a great catch at the 23. Starts for the near sidelines. He goes to the 25, and he's hit at the 25-yard line. And coming down to make the tackle was Lou Guy. Actually, Morris almost bumped into one of his own men. A 50-yard punt and a 1-yard return by Johnny Morris. And the Bears own the ball now on their own 24-yard line. 2 minutes and 19 seconds left in the first period at Wrigley Field. It's the New York Giants 7 and the Chicago Bears nothing. The Giant touchdown followed a Bear fumble. The Giants recovered, and in 7 plays they had scored. The TD coming on a pass from Tittle to Frank Gifford. Johnny Morris split wide to the right. Farrington a tight left end this time. Wade barking signals on 1st down at the Chicago Bear 24-yard line. Wade hands off to Gallimore. He tries to skirt around his own right end. He gets to the 25. He's up to the 30. Here's a fumble at the 30-yard line, and a big pile up down here on about the 30-yard line, and let's see who has recovered. Gallimore was hit hard, and the Giants have recovered. Sam Huff hit Gallimore and shook the ball away from the ball carrier, and the Giants have recovered their 2nd Bear fumble in this ball game on the Chicago Bear 31-yard line. Gallimore was really hit by middle linebacker Sam Huff, and the ball was jarred loose. The Giants recover the fumble, the 2nd time in this quarter that the Giants have recovered a Chicago Bear bobble. So they've got the ball 31 yards away from the goal line. Aaron Thomas is the left end, split wide by a couple of yards. Here's Tittle back to throw. 37-year-old quarterback gets away from one man, throws one deep, and it is dropped in the end zone. Downfield was Schaffner. He had the ball in his hands, and he couldn't hang on. And after having the ball hit his fingertips, he jumped into a pile of snow at the south end of the field. Tittle was nailed once and got away from 2 of the Bears and still managed to get the ball in the air. The pass was a little bit high. Schaffner got his hands on it but could not hang on. Stops the clock with 1 minute and 31 to go in the first period. 2nd and 10 for the New York Giants on the Chicago Bears 31-yard line. It's the New York Giants 7, the Chicago Bears nothing. Here's Gifford now, split wide to the right as a flanker back. Aaron Thomas is the right end, Schaffner the left end. Tittle back to throw again. Y.A. looks. Here's a screen pass, intercepted by Larry Morris. He's at the 50. Morris at the 45, 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, down at the 7-yard line. Larry Morris has intercepted a pass for the Chicago Bears and he's taken the ball down to the New York Giant 6-yard line. Roughly about a 65-yard return of an intercepted pass by right side linebacker Larry Morris. He picked Tittle's pass out of the air, and actually he just ran out of gas. Two big linemen chased him, and he took it down to the New York Giants 6-yard line. All right, first down goal to go for the Bears. Wade calling signals. Let's see who he hands off to. It's to Ronnie Bull. He's inside the 5. He's down to the 3-yard line. Last year's Rookie of the Year in the NFL, Ronnie Bull, the All-American from Baylor, carried the ball that time, moving in behind tremendous blocking by Bob Watoska, Mike Pyle, and Roger Davis. Ball is on the 2-yard line. Second down, goal to go for the Chicago Bears on the Giant 2. Bears out of the huddle, up to the line of scrimmage. Wade barking signals, waiting for that snap. The crowd waiting for a score. Here's a sneak. Wade, head down. He's in. Touchdown. Billy Wade has just sneaked in for a touchdown from 2 yards out. And Bob Jenks and Davey Witzel check in as Jenks will attempt the point after. It's 7-6 now in favor of the Giants. And a successful point after here can make it a tie ball game. Mike Pyle up and over the ball. Former great center at Yale University. Witzel is holding at the 10. Here is the snap back. The ball is down. The kick is up. It's over the left field fence into the street. Point after is good, and the game is tied. With 16 seconds to play in the first period, the Bears 7, the Giants 7.
Down from the cool of La Crosse, Wisconsin, comes a brew with a wonderful natural life all its own. Old Style. Old Style, the brew that's cool brewed purely by nature, gets its pure, genuine Old World flavor in a very special way. It's brewed twice. That's right. When other folks rush their brew to market, we're just beginning a complete second brewing. The second time for months and months, cool brewing takes place down at near freezing 36 degrees. Slowly, the special light flavor and life of Old Style is born. The honest smoothness that is nature's very own. Now, you can tell the difference cool brewing makes. Taste it and see if Old Style isn't smoother, lighter, mellow, and foamy. If you're looking for the brew that's brewed the way all beer should be, discover cool brewed Old Style. Try Old Style, cool brewed only in La Crosse by the G. Heilemann Brewing Company.